Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I feel like this is the one video that everyone wanted and requested for. So we finally have some updates, we've made some decisions as to what is going on with the kitchen. So we have finally kind of decided, like 90% decided on everything. I want to talk you guys through our initial ideas, the process, who we spoke to, all of that kind of jazz, rough pricing, and what our final decision is and kind of why, to fully take you through the whole process of how we got to this point. So I'm going to show you a little bit of everything, including the plans for what we are going for. So I'm going to quickly take you around the kitchen, show you what's going on. I know some of you would have seen this already, but a lot of people asked if we were going to keep the kitchen that's already in the house. No, it's the original 80s kitchen. So it's a relatively old kitchen and it's not in bad condition, but it's not in the best condition. We want to change out the layout ever so slightly anyway. So we are looking at getting a brand new kitchen, but having lived in this house for a little while now, we do love the kind of big open layout. So I know I've said this before, but the wall between the dining room and the kitchen will be coming down. That's hopefully going to be coming down this coming week, maybe even next week. But we do actually really like having that kind of L shape in the room. We love having the sink right by the window there. So there's a lot of things in this kitchen that do kind of work for us, but there's obviously quite a lot of things that just don't. So let's talk about initial kind of styles, vibes that we were looking for. So we always knew that we wanted to go quite modern. Both Steve and I were really drawn to this really dark kind of kitchen cabinet. You guys know that we're going for like a really nice light oak floor throughout the whole kind of living area. So we both just instantly were drawn to that, thought it looked really different and there was like a nice contrast there. So we definitely, there was no question about it. We always knew we were going to go for a dark kitchen. So we were originally looking at more of like a dark charcoaly grey. We knew that we wanted to go for like a modern kind of slab front or like handleless kind of style. And we were originally looking at going for like a light worktop as well. So I know it's a kind of style that's really popular, like that light whitish with like a very subtle veining through it, something like that. So that is kind of what we had in our mind right up until before we moved in, or like when we did move in. In terms of layout, what I started with is I use a web app called floorplanner.com. It's completely free. I've shared this with you guys before. It's been so helpful with making decisions around the house because it's just like a free floor planning tool. You can kind of put things in and start planning stuff yourself. I went through honestly about like 10 different iterations of different plans before we even moved into the house. I was like fully obsessed with it, spending all my spare time just kind of thinking about what we wanted, how we would use the kitchen, hitting up Pinterest for different ideas as well. So I had an idea of the layout that I wanted before we moved in here. I'm glad that we've now moved in here and it's kind of confirmed my thoughts. I would always say that you have to kind of live in a space for at least a little while before you make any big commitments like that, and kitchen's a really expensive thing. So I'm glad that we've kind of confirmed what we do and don't like about the kitchen. So yeah, I had a very set idea as to roughly like what I wanted layout wise. So the steps that we took when we moved in, we actually approached Ren first. So we booked someone to come around and do measurements. So in case you haven't been through this process before, someone comes around for free, there's no obligation. They'll come around, do all the measurements, and then from there, this is a bit weird because my sister used had a Ren home appointment, I had a Ren home appointment, and ours were very different. My sister had someone come around and do stuff on the spot for her. The guy who came around to ours literally just did measurements. He said it will be uploaded to your account and then you can book a showroom appointment thing and they would go through stuff with us there. So that's what we did. So we had all the measurements done, which was great. We knew that a professional was kind of coming in and doing all the measurements and it wasn't down to us potentially messing it up. Everything was online and ready for us to access. So we went into Ren for the design consultation, which again is all free. I would actually really recommend utilizing that because, like I said, it's all free. You get free plans, they get like 3D mock-ups, everything, all for free. So it's definitely worth it. I have quite a lot of friends who have Ren kitchens. They absolutely love them. I've heard really, really good things. So that's why we wanted to start there. So the design consultation we had, like I said, we went in knowing that we wanted these dark cabinets and this light worktop, and we started kind of looking at stuff. I would say that before we went in, I said to Steve, I'm not going to tell them what we have in mind layout wise. I'd rather say to them, you know, like we didn't want to move the location of the sink, and we didn't want like things that were non-negotiables, but I didn't want to go in and say this is what we want. I wanted to see if they kind of made some valuable suggestions, and I'd say that they weren't. I don't go in with a mind, I guess it all depends who you get, but I wouldn't say that they were like really forthcoming with design ideas. It was very much down to us. And there were certain things that obviously are helpful. They were like, oh, you have to consider this or consider that. But I wouldn't say that they were like, right, well, this is what I suggest. So he mocked up exactly what I had in mind. We were looking at it and we kind of like took a tour of like the showroom just to make sure. And we actually saw this black worktop on a black kitchen. And our minds were just, whoa, that looks really cool. So we actually got him to mock it up and it just changed the whole kitchen. It honestly, like, it was the same layout and everything, but just changing that one element just made it look so much different. So let me talk you through the layout and the kind of rough layout we're going for. So these are done by Ren. So as you can see, we've kind of maintained that L shape that we currently have. We've just slightly tweaked the sizings there. So we're going to have the sink in front of the window like we wanted. We're going to have the L shape, but because the wall's coming down, it means that we can have an overhang on the worktop, which allows us to have some bar seating. That was something that was really important to us because our last house, we had an island with bar seating, and we used it so much. So it's something that we would definitely, if we could, we wanted to incorporate it. The current layout of the kitchen, the hob and the oven are actually on that kind of L bit of worktop. Instead, we're going to move it to the far wall. So we've actually decided to have no upper cabinets at all because we just felt like it closes the room in too much. So we're going to have a hob in the middle of these kind of drawer units. We definitely wanted to use as many drawers as possible because we found that from our last kitchen. We just found it was so much more useful storage than like a cupboard where stuff kind of gets pushed to the back and lost. So we're going to have 3 wide drawer units along that back, accompanied with a tall tower unit, which is going to house our double oven as well. So it's all going to be very kind of clean, simple, nice and sleek. And we are actually going for a kind of concealed cooker hood as well. So this is something that will be built out and plastered, so it will just blend in with the walls. And then we've got a canopy cooker hood to sit underneath there as well. And then I'll add in some kind of Pinterest photos because we're looking at adding shelves either side of the cooker hood. The Ren mock-up doesn't do it any justice. He said he kind of struggled to put something in and size it right, but we know exactly what we've kind of got in mind. Some nice like oak shelves that we can put some practical stuff on, but also use it more of like a kind of decor piece as well. And then in terms of storage, the main thing that we definitely wanted to have was an appliance garage. I am someone, I like the sides to be all clean and clutter free. I hate having stuff on the sides. I knew from the get-go I wanted to hide as many appliances and just stuff as possible. So we have decided to put in this big pantry unit, and I knew that I didn't want it to be dark because I just thought it would swallow the room up a little bit. Instead, I thought it would be great to have it look like it's a bit more of a kind of freestanding unit. So we decided to go for a light oak effect there. So this is 3 600mm units, and I think they're like 220 high. The left one is an integrated fridge freezer, and then the two to the right of that are actually pantry cupboards. So we are getting our electrician to put power points in all of those cupboards, which will store our coffee machine, blender, microwave, toaster, all of that kind of stuff. It's all going to be concealed within this cupboard, and we're going to add some like nice drawers and things, and more of like a pantry kind of larder style, make it all cute and Pinteresty. This is going to be like the pantry of my dreams. Yeah, so that was like the main thing that I was really excited about. So that's the kind of general layout of the kitchen. Let me quickly show you the lighter worktop compared to the darker worktop, because I just think it really changes out the room quite a lot. So that kind of leads us on to decisions and pricing. I do think the pricing in Ren is pretty fair. They constantly have sales on, so they always seem to have like 50% off units or whatever, but they have the sale all year round, which is just ridiculous. But this is the issue that we fell into with Ren. So Ren have like 4 different categories of cabinets, and for the kind of colour and style cabinet that we wanted, that was the top tier. We couldn't get a slab front cabinet in the colour that we wanted in any of the lower tiers. He could do it in a shaker, he could do like a black and a shaker, all of this, but he couldn't just do the flat panel one. It had to be in the Infinity Plus, which I think is their top range. So the cabinets actually came out really expensive, and he said it's literally just because of the colour and style of the door that you're going for. He was like, if you want that style door in white, he was like, I could do it for half the price. But because of the kind of combination of the colour and the style, they just didn't have it in any of the cheaper ranges. So for that reason, we were kind of priced out, and we wanted to look at other options. We were always going to look at other options anyway. But yeah, it was a bit of a shame because we were interested in Ren. We were never ever going to consider getting it fitted with Ren, because they do absolutely charge a fortune. It is so much cheaper to just use a local kitchen fitter, and that was always our preference anyway. So we then had to kind of take a look at cheaper options. We went to Wickes, who said that they could do it for a much cheaper price. However, they didn't have a lot of the units that we wanted. We know that we wanted these really big, wide drawer units. The range that we were looking at, they couldn't do that. So because of the style that we're going for, we had so many like restrictions and limitations of what we could go for. So Wickes was definitely a much cheaper option. We did book a design consultation with them, but we actually didn't finish it because we just had to say like, I'm really sorry, but there's too many things that we want that we can't get, that there would be no point. So we were literally there for like 10 minutes before we found out we couldn't have loads of stuff. So we went to Wickes, didn't have it. I looked at going to Magnate because they were quite affordable as well. But at this point, we kind of decided that we really wanted like a super dark cabinet, like a nearly black or a completely black cabinet. And a lot of places don't do that. Some of them do gloss. We looked at DIY kitchens. They only had like gloss ones. Before I forget, there was another reason we didn't go with Ren. And that was because for that kind of wooden pantry cupboard, we wanted like a nice kind of flat panel Scandi wood style cabinet. The only option they had was like a rough sawn cabinet. I'll try and find some photos, but it had this kind of like jagged wood on it, which was very rustic. Nothing against that, but it just would not have fit in with the style that we were going for. So that was another thing, is because if we did go with Ren, we would have had to have sourced the pantry cabinet from a different place anyway, which we didn't want to do. We just kind of wanted it to be all from the same place. So yeah, we went to IKEA. I actually asked you guys not that long ago, does anyone have an IKEA kitchen? What are your thoughts? I had so many of you come back and say, yeah, I've always had IKEA kitchens, or oh, we've got one at the moment, we absolutely love it. And they just seem to have glowing reviews. I've even spoken to like kitchen fitters and worktop fitters saying that they're really pleasantly surprised as well for the price that you pay. They also have 25-year guarantee, and they have a lot of the same kind of offerings that, oh, camera just ran out of battery. So IKEA actually had a lot of the same services that other people were providing as well. Like they can do home measurements. I think they charge £30 or something like that to do a home visit and measurement. So obviously I would just get it done for free with Ren. It saves you a little bit of money, why not? But you can book an in-store kind of design appointment. I think they do actually do like online ones as well. So if you don't have a store near you, you can kind of book an online one, and I think they just do it over video call. They even do things where you can just kind of design it yourself and run through the plan with them and make sure we've got everything right. So what we did was just use the online planner. Like I said, we'd already kind of basically been through all of that with Ren anyway, that we had a really good idea of what we wanted. So this is what we're going to go for. I'm going to tell you the kitchen style, and then I'll talk you through like the actual layout of everything that we're going to go for. So we are going for the, I think it's the METOD base cabinet. So that's the actual carcass, and we are actually going for the dark stain wood, which is kind of like a blacky browny dark wood. So we're going for the dark interiors. In terms of the black doors, we are going for the KUNGSBACKA, which is a very, very dark, matte, kind of anthracite-y. It looks black, basically. I think they call it anthracite, but it's basically black. They have them all over their showrooms. We've seen them so many times. We absolutely love them. The only thing that put us off was they actually have really bad reviews online because they're difficult to clean. Although there was one review which was basically like, yes, they are more difficult to clean, but it doesn't mean you can't clean them. And to be honest, I think you're always going to have that with any type of matte surface. They are more difficult to keep clean, as with gloss is as well. So that hasn't put us off. We absolutely love the style, so we're going for that. And then on the pantry cupboard, we are going for the, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called, ASKERSUND or something. I will put in the names because obviously I will be butchering the pronunciation anyway, but it's the perfect kind of really nice kind of light blondie Scandi kind of wood that's going to fit in with our whole kind of general aesthetic anyway. So those are the door styles we're going for. In terms of layout, so when you walk in, you kind of see the window with like the sink in front of you. So we are going for a 800mm base cabinet under there, so a slightly wider one so we can have a big sink on there. We're actually having drawers as well, so it'll be two big deep drawers sitting underneath the sink, which I think will be perfect for like just general kind of cleaning storage and stuff. And then to the right of that, we are having a integrated dishwasher. So at the moment we actually have a washing machine there, and the dishwasher is to the left of the sink, but it's a really awkward place to have a dishwasher in the kind of corner of the L bit. So that's why we decided to shunt it to the right hand side of the sink. And I just love having the sink in front of the window, be able to look out into the garden. To the left of the sink, we are going for a corner unit there. So it will have like a 600mm door on, and then yeah, go into the corner. You get what I mean. And then coming around this kind of L bend, we have another 800mm drawer unit there as well. So this looks like two drawers, but it's actually going to have three drawers because there's going to be a hidden narrow drawer in the top of it. So this is where we're going to store a lot of things like our cutlery, plates, things like that. We wanted to put that there because it's kind of good proximity to obviously like the bar seating and the dining table. So it means that if someone's cooking in the kitchen, you're not going to be bumping into each other when you're trying to lay the table, things like that. So there was a lot of thought process around that because I feel like we've learned from our previous kitchen where we just seem to be bumping into each other all the time. Then to the left of that, we are going to have a pull-out bin system. So we're going to have, it's going to look like a cupboard door, but you pull it out, there'll be a bin in there. It's going to be so much more better than having like a freestanding bin that just kind of gets in the way. And yeah, I've wanted one of those for a while, so we decided to get one of those. On that kind of back wall where the hob is, so we've got three 800mm drawer units. The one in the middle is just going to be two drawers because obviously we can't have that hidden drawer because the hob's going to sit in there. But the ones either side are going to have hidden drawers, so they're all going to just look the same, like two big deep drawers. But the ones on either side, we're going to have that hidden drawer added just so we can put things like spices, extra cooking utensils, things like that. These are really big, deep drawers. So these are going to house all of our like pans, cooking, things like that. So I wanted it to be very much like if you're cooking, you're kind of on that back wall in that zone, and nobody's kind of, if people are socializing in the kitchen or kind of moving around, you're like, Steve wants to come in and get a drink, that he's not going to kind of be bumping into me and getting in my way. Like I said, it was such a bugbear for our last kitchen. So that was kind of the intention there. And I always wanted to have the oven next to the hob as well, because like I said, I feel like that is the cooking zone. That's what you're doing when you're in that part of the kitchen. We definitely wanted to get an eye level oven. We had that in our last house. I feel like once you get an eye level one, it's difficult to go back to like an under cabinet one. But that was just like our preference. So yeah, that is going to be that area there. There is one thing that I will note that is really frustrating about IKEA, and that's that the drawers are white. The interior of the drawers is white. So no matter what kind of carcass colour you get, they are white. It's not the end of the world, but would I rather they were dark to match the rest of it? Yes. Maybe that's something they'll introduce in the future. I don't know. Anyway, moving on to the pantry unit. Like I said, we've gone for this kind of Scandi wood colour. We've got an integrated fridge freezer on the left-hand side there, and we're just gonna, I think we're gonna kind of see how we get on with stuff. But IKEA do so many things that you can add. They do these like wire baskets, which are pretty affordable, and it's probably something that you could actually install into your current kitchen if you want to do something like that, even if it's not IKEA. But they just do these kind of wire pull-out drawer things, which I just think is good pantry storage for like snacks and just foods and things like that. So we'll obviously have a shelf which is kind of like counter height, that we will have all our appliances and stuff on, and then we'll have like a shelf above that. In one of those is going to sit the microwave, so the microwave will kind of be like just above eye level, not too high that we can't obviously see, but high enough that it's not kind of eating into that area. And then on the other side we'll obviously just have loads of, you know, the kind of aesthetic I'm thinking of, like the glass jars with all like the pasta and things like that. I'm going to try and make it all really nice and organised and just clean and tidy. And yeah, having the drawers underneath I think will just be so much more usable, because like I said, shelves are great for some things, but sometimes when they're like under counter height, stuff just gets shoved to the back. It's difficult to keep them organised. So I think the drawers will really help. And like I said, they're pretty affordable as well. Okay, so let's talk about appliances. We have ordered all of our appliances now. I ordered them from all sorts of places. Most of them have been from AO.com. They had an offer on which was like, if you buy 2 appliances over a certain amount, you got 50 quid off. So I cheekily put in 2 different orders. So I got 4 things from AO, but did them in 2 orders just so I could get that extra discount. There's nothing stopping you doing that. So yeah, another thing I will recommend, I bang on about this all the time, there is a browser extension I use called Honey. I will leave the details for it down below, because it basically scans all available voucher codes. So if there is a voucher code, you just have to press the little thing and it will just search it for you. And it has honestly saved me so much money, and you collect points and they give you vouchers as well. So it's a really, really good tool to use, especially if you are trying to kind of save money. So yeah, oven is Zanussi. So Zanussi was recommended to us as being a good brand that's more affordable. We knew that with appliances we didn't want to go for super cheapy ones. We wanted to go for good reputable brands, but not spend an absolute fortune. Like we've said, this isn't our forever home. If it was, would we splash out a little bit more on the appliances? We might do, but it's just not worth it for us. So I saw Zanussi was one of the most affordable options that we could get for what we wanted. The oven is a double oven, so it has like a big oven and then a smaller kind of grill oven thing on top, and it's completely matte black. All of the dials are black. This is why I'm like, there were no super cheap options for me anyway, because I wanted that black. I didn't want any kind of chrome or anything, because I thought it would just stand out too much. So that was like the cheapest option, and like I said, Zanussi's a pretty reputable brand. I'm going to do a separate video once the kitchen's completely done, and I will go through pricing like fully, but like I can give you a rough guide now. But yeah, like The oven wasn't too bad. We got a matching hob because I knew that I wanted the oven and the hob to be the same brand, but then I wasn't concerned about everything else being the same brand. So we also have a big, I think it's like an 800ml induction hob from Zanussi as well. So again, nice, flat, modern, it's pretty discreet. I mean, fridge freezer, it's not the most interesting. I think we got a Fridgemaster one, got it in the sale at AO. It's just a 70-30 split. Nothing too exciting. Once the kitchen's fully done, I'll give you a full tour and give you full details of the appliances and everything anyway. Integrated dishwasher, we went for a full-size one that was fully integrated. Sink, we spent a little bit more on the sink because I wanted a black granite one. So like I said, we're going to go for a dark worktop, and yeah, I just wanted it to kind of be really seamless. I thought a white one would stand out too much. Tap, we've also ordered our tap that actually came the other day. We have gone for a matte black mixer tap. I really wanted a hot water, like a boiling water tap, but like I said, it's not our forever home. We're trying to be sensible where we do and don't spend our money. So we've gone for one that looks like really, really nice, and it's actually got one of those pull out kind of things, you know, the pull out things, the hose things, but it looks really stylish, gonna fit in with all the matte black kind of vibe. The only other thing is the extractor hood, not hood, like the canopy extractor fan. So we actually just went for a white one because it's going to be in that kind of boxed in plastered canopy hood, which is going to be white. So we thought the white would just blend in with that and just stand out a lot less. So that was our decision behind that. The only other thing, oh, handles. I haven't talked to you about handles. So when I asked you guys your opinion on the kitchen, a lot of people did think we were going to go for that kind of handleless J-Pool style kitchen. I think those do look really good, but I wanted it to be really simplistic, and also I feel like they just collect dirt as well and might be a bit more difficult to clean. That was like the one thing that kind of put me off of that, and that's why we decided to go for a slab front, and instead I have gone for inline pool handles. I think that's the right kind of word. I will put in a photo of exactly what we've gone for. I actually ordered them from Amazon. So we have gone for quite long ones. They are 30mm, so they will sit on top of all of the drawers, doors, obviously, but they're really, really discreet and like really super, super thin, black matte metal. Fits in really well. You guys know I like that kind of simplistic vibe. And then worktops. This is the one thing that we are not sure about. So we definitely don't want laminate because we're not gonna stay here full term, and like one of the main reasons for doing this is to kind of make a bit of a profit on this house so that we can obviously move up the ladder to where we want to be. So certain things are always in our mind as to what will or won't add value. If this was our forever home, what would we be getting? Quartz. Hands down, we would be getting quartz. But the amount of money that we will spend on that, will that reflect in the property value? That's something that we're just not sure about at the moment. So we have been and looked at some kind of like stone worktop places. Some quotes we've had have just been astronomical, like definitely not going to happen. There is one, we have basically found if we are going to go for quartz, we know what we're going to go for and who we're going to use. It's a place called Cardiff Marble. Weirdly enough, I have been following them on Instagram for like 3 years. We considered getting quartz worktop in our last place and decided against it. And I just found them on Instagram and thought they looked like a really good kind of family run business. And we went there and they were just amazing. Really, really nice, like super friendly, super knowledgeable. And I have found the worktop that I want to use, which to be fair isn't one of the most expensive ones. He said like you're not on the cheap end, but you're not like super, super expensive. You're kind of like in the middle-ish bit. And it's by a company called QUARTZ Forms, who are a German company. So he said they're a great brand because they're Italian design but German manufacturing, and they're actually pretty well priced. And I will put in like a photo of the kind of style we're thinking of going for, which is this black with very, very subtle like tiny white veining. So not huge white veining, not super marbled, but just a little bit of detailing. Everything else is so simplistic. We wanted to have that little something just to kind of give it a more high-end look. So the quote that we got for those quartz worktops were 4,200 roughly. To put it in perspective, the kitchen units are about 3 grand. They're just under 3 grand. And appliances another like couple of grand, basically, like 2 to 3 grand. So it's a very sizable chunk of the kitchen budget would be on worktops. And what we were looking at getting is where the hob is, just a single piece there. We're actually looking at doing some tile between the worktop and the shelves / cooker hood. So just one piece there. We were looking at obviously getting the L shape, but we have to accommodate for that kind of wider section, which is going to be just under 1 meter depth, where we're going to have the bar seating, but that also includes one waterfall edge. So where the bar seating comes to an end, we're going to have a waterfall edge there. We mock this up without a waterfall edge and it just completely changes how it looks. And that waterfall edge is just, I mean, it's like an extra 400 quid, but I feel like it just adds something. It just adds like a whole other level of like luxury to the space. So I feel like that's a must, that we want that, but it's whether we can stomach paying like the 4 grand basically. Our other option is, I showed you this before, but it's a solid laminate. So obviously there's a lot of benefits to quartz. It's very durable. You can't actually, they don't guarantee that you can put hot pans on it. You have to be specific about what you're cleaning it with. So they don't guarantee that it's like bulletproof basically, that you can do whatever you want to it. Obviously things like marble is super porous and you have to be so careful because it does stain. Quartz is a lot more durable, but they actually don't guarantee that it's like you can put whatever you want on it. There's still a lot of like disclaimers and caveats to using the product. So another one that we are looking at is the solid laminate. So obviously you can't put hot pans on it and stuff like that, but you kind of can't do that with the quartz anyway. The solid laminate that we are looking at, very similar. They look so similar, and it is really weird because the solid laminate, I had a couple of samples delivered and it looks like stone. It feels cold to the touch, like a kind of stonework top. It looks like stone. To me, it's really realistic, but it doesn't have that kind of quartz label to it. So it's from a brand called, I think it's Formica, I think it's how you pronounce it. It's the Aria Graphite. Again, I'll put in some photos. I think it looks great, but it obviously doesn't have that prestige of being like a stone, like quartz worktop. So that would be about 1,600 for the worktop, but that doesn't include installation. So we'd have to look at getting that installed as well. So we'd be looking basically about 2 grand for the solid laminate versus twice the amount for quartz. So this, we know exactly what style we want to go for. We've got 2 really great options, but it just depends how much we want to invest in having the quartz or not. So that is the only thing that we are completely undecided on. We are kind of asking around, getting some opinions from people. It'd be great to know what you guys think. Are you team solid laminate or quartz? I think Steve's more quartz and I'm more solid laminate, but I'm a bit more like a stickler for the budget, whereas Steve isn't dealing with the budget. So I feel like that's where we kind of come from 2 different minds. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. But so far the planning's been a really enjoyable process. I love doing all that kind of stuff. I don't find it overwhelming. I just get excited about it. And I love that we're now ordering stuff and it's all coming in. And yeah, I feel like the vision is coming together. So that, like I said, the wall's going to come down hopefully like this week, which will just open the room up so much more. And we'll be able to see what it looks like as one complete space. Yeah, there's been a lot of thought process as to how we would use the kitchen. And one thing I would say is that when you are planning a kitchen, like print it out and make notes on it and kind of go, what am I going to put in every cupboard? What do I have in my cupboards at the moment? And where would those items sit? That's something that I spent a lot of time doing, like, right, you know, like plates, cutlery, where are those going to go? And is that going to be easy? Like when I go in and I make a drink, what is your kind of journey? I know that sounds really ridiculous, but imagine yourself doing certain actions in the kitchen and like, all right, I'm cooking, I'm gonna get something out of the fridge. That's something at the moment where our hob has been and where our fridge is on the other side of the kitchen. So you're constantly walking across, whereas that's something we want to be like, right, well, it's there. And I think there's something called like the golden triangle. I think that's what it's called, where it's to do with having stuff in a triangle. And I think it's like cooking, like the fridge, cooking, and then like the sink should be in a triangle formation. Something like that. But it's definitely something to bear in mind, and just think about like, you know, I'm gonna make a cup of tea, get my mug out, you know, I do this, do that, and kind of think about how you're using the kitchen and having certain things grouped in a certain way, and making sure it kind of flows and that certain tasks that you're doing are gonna make sense in that layout and that you're not gonna be kind of crossing each other. Yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of a long one, but I know you guys have been excited to see the kitchen. Definitely one of my favourite rooms to kind of design the whole house. So it'll be so nice to finally get some movement on it and see it kind of come together. And because obviously the lounge and the kitchen and everything are very interconnected, I feel like there's going to be a lot of change quite quickly, because when the flooring goes down, it's going to go throughout. So there'll be quite a lot of when we get around to doing that, there'll be quite a lot of movement quite quickly, I hope. So yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned to all the renovation progress and everything. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.